So I meet countless amounts of golfers that struggle with hitting the golf ball correctly, and I see them spend hours and hours trying to rehearse and force positions to get their hands into a place to hit the golf ball better, but it never ever works. Now in this video I'm going to show you a very simple 3-step process that you can copy to make sure that you do the one thing that is going to make you hit the golf ball correctly, and that one thing is releasing that trail arm correctly, which in turn will make you hit the golf ball like a professional golfer. Let's talk about those steps. Step 1 is understanding rotation. If we are going to try and release this trail arm onto the back of the golf ball correctly, we need to be able to rotate. And there's 2 things that you need to be able to understand with your rotation. The first one is just by simply allowing both your lower and your upper body to move towards the target, moves the trail shoulder. See the way that my trail shoulder is progressively getting closer towards the golf ball. This is going to be one of the things that we need to do. Now, the other thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that as we're turning towards the target, we're also getting the feeling of the trail shoulder lowering towards the ground. You see, if I can find a way to get both my shoulder moving towards the ball, but also find a way to get it lower to the ground, this is going to increase my chances of being able to release the club correctly. You see, the most common problem with most amateur golfers is they don't understand this. They either don't understand that they need to turn in the first place, and they get the idea that they think they're supposed to just shift the weight towards the lead side. You see the way this just keeps the shoulder dropping down way behind the golf ball, or golfers that do rotate don't understand the importance of getting the shoulder moving down towards the ground, and again this just makes the shoulder too high, which again means that you can't release the arm correctly. So the first thing to practice is just getting this feeling of the chest and the lower body moving towards the target with a sense of the trail shoulder getting closer towards the ground. 2 is just to allow the trail arm to release, and what we mean by this is we've got to understand 2 fundamental movements. The first one is the relationship between both your lower and your upper arm. So in the backswing position, this relationship shouldn't have exceeded 90 degrees. So as we start the downswing, what you can have a feeling of is just immediately allowing your lower arm to straighten away from your upper arm. This is going to help you release the club correctly. Now simultaneously, whilst you're doing this type of motion, what you need to do is get your upper arm moving to the side of your body. It's both of these motions here that are going to help us straighten that arm, which is going to get the club to strike down on the back of the golf ball. You see, the big problem with amateur golfers is what they have a tendency to do is pull down more on the club. You see, if I pull down on the club, can you see the way that my upper arm moves away from the side of my body? And what this does is this either means that you're going to end up swinging more over the top, or it's going to produce more of a sort of casting motion like so. So it's important to understand the upper arm moves to the side of the body, whilst you're also allowing the lower arm to move away from the upper arm. That is going to give you a good blend of the correct release. Step 3 is just putting those movements together, and the best way to do this is when you go down the driving range, place your lead hand on the upper part of your trail arm, like as I'm demonstrating here. Now from this position you can just lift your arm up as I'm demonstrating. You can get that sort of feeling of allowing that arm to release, keeping that upper arm close, whilst also rotating. And if you can put those movements together, what you should notice is the way the club head is able to strike down where the golf ball would be. So I would suggest making a dozen or so practice swings until you can consistently get the club to strike down where the golf ball would be. Once you can do this, then that would mean that you're able to hit a few little practice shots one-handed, and you might not get the same distance, but what you should do is get the quality in the contact. And if you can do that, then you can start hitting some shots down the driving range where you get those feelings and put them together.